crossing us over to the year 2020. Can you believe that? We're in another complete century. And I know God has got that elevator button and he getting ready to start elevate the saints, all of us that trust him before we do anything. But I'm excited today. I haven't been on in a while, but I've been busy with my babies. Everybody know I love my babies. But today, I am so excited. I'm going to let my new daughter introduce herself, but let me tell you what the name of her project is. Smart Cookie Project. And you can just take that and expand it all the way to the end of Cleveland, Ohio's boundary line. So you know that project has opened up many doors for a whole lot of people. Right now, it's on you, daughter. Peace and welcome to Queen on the Scene.
Welcome to Queen on the Scene. I am Josette Compton. I'm the founder of Smart Cookie Project. And here I'm going to be discussing the project a little more with Lady Gilmore, and just sharing with the viewers and the listeners what we do and what we hope to do.
Oh, we going beyond hope, daughter. We gonna do this.
Yes, we are.
We gonna do this.
We are doing it
because we're doing what he said about what God said about his babies. We children, our children, and anytime we put them first, God just start throwing them nuggets. Boom, boom, boom. But we're excited. But can you tell us and share with us a little bit more about the project? I'm old school. Tell me how he was born. Birth. Let's go back to the birthday.
The birthday was actually my niece Asia Dancy's Sweet 16 party. So I'm a former journalist, and my niece was having a Sweet 16 party, and I pretty much went to the grocery store looking for magazines that I could gift her, right? Like a subscription. Because when I was 16, I used to like to read Marie Claire, and 17 and stuff like that. And I could not find anything that spoke to her at all. Essence was for women my age. The rest of the magazines I saw were of rich white girls, or they were like these gossip magazines for Black kids. And I was just really dissatisfied with it. So I remember coming back to school. I'm a teacher, and I told a good friend of mine, Jimmy Woody, I said, I'm going to start a magazine. And he kind of brushed me off. He's like, yeah, that sounds good. And I said, no, really, it's going to be based on my niece, Asia, because Asia is so smart. She's very creative. She's a go-getter. And she is from a low income background, but she is so determined. And I was teaching girls that were just like my niece. And I said I was going to name it Smart Cookie, because Smart Cookie to me always symbolized a girl, even though it's not like a gender term. It always represented to me girls who were very savvy. You know, not like edible, but savvy, intelligent, quick-witted. And so we started production at the school as soon as possible. And I got a lot of girls who were interested. We did a real live photo shoot at the school, and we started to build editorial content. So I put together an editorial team of girls and boys. And we started writing stories, commentary on the Me Too movement. We talked about colleges more than grades. We talked about domestic violence amongst Latina teens, Latinos. And we wanted to get funding, but we were turned down for funding. We applied for a grant that would pay for us to publish the magazine because we wanted a professional magazine. And we didn't get that money, so we kind of had to stop the magazine. And we still have the content of the magazine, but we had to stop it. And so we all went back to the drawing board. And when I say we, I'm talking about my students and I.
Okay.
And Mr. Woody, who's been very helpful through this whole process. So we went back to the drawing board, and they had suggested, why don't we do a podcast? And I said, that would actually be cool because podcast listening is going up. And because it's a media educational company, the idea is to have a magazine, a podcast, a website, and a TV show. And this is the purpose of having these media-based educational opportunities is so that kids get real-world experience so that they are able to get to the most competitive art schools in the United States and abroad. So that's the whole point of using media education, to actually prepare them for those skills, to really have them develop. How do you actually edit a film? How do you actually use Pro Tools? How do you use InDesign and Photoshop to put together a magazine? These are skills that they need to have before they apply for colleges and decide to become a graphic designer or a film editor or a video game designer. And so the idea of Smart Cookie is really college readiness, because kids of color happen to go into college and have to take remediation courses. And so we want to be able to give them that boost that they need, because a lot of their families cannot afford summer camps. They cannot afford the New York Times lab in the summer because that cost. So by building a lab here, then we're actually doing what those programs are doing, but locally.
Well, daughter, the Lord put you on a sabbatical, a day of rest.
Yes.
And during that sabbatical, you were able to be elevated with your name changed. Let's talk about that, because all of this is part of the birth. So let's talk about that.
So when I was on the sabbatical, I did a DNA test and found out that I'm majority Nigerian, 85% West African, but the majority of my DNA is Nigerian. And so I took that very serious. On a spiritual level, I took it very serious, because I feel like I have an identity now. So I went the extra step. I knew that there were 3 major tribes in Nigeria, like the Yoruba, the Igbo, and Fulani. And so I decided to go with the Yoruba. So I went to a Yoruba priestess, and she did a naming ceremony for me, and my name is Akoradele, and it means one who brings many blessings to others.
Now, see there? That's why the Lord put you on that sabbatical. Because He had to prepare you on the journey with the DNA testing, so you would know where you are, and then He took it from there. Because that's what you've been doing when you birth Smart Cookie. See, all of this is stepping stones. And anytime I think about stones, I think about Jacob, when they laid the stones. And see, that's what God does for us. He will lay the stones, and when we step on it, so you stepped on that stone. So now we got some more precious stones that the Lord wants you to step on with our children.
Yes, that's very important to me. I am a 9th grade teacher at the Cleveland High School for Digital Arts, and I just want to give a shout out to my principal, Jasmine Mays, who is amazing. She is just phenomenal in her support for me and Smart Cookie. And at that school, I've been able to grow kids academically in English language arts. So their test scores, the standardized test scores, are improving under me. And I did receive the 2018 Excellence in Teaching Award. So it's like looking at being in the classroom in real time and knowing what the learning needs of my students are has really informed how we plan to build the curriculum out for Smart Cookie. And also my research, I'm a doctoral student, and I'm studying digital arts integration and its impact on non-dominant teenage girls. So all of this is fueling, it's like a trinity. My work as an educator, my work as a doctoral student, and Smart Cookie, they all feed off of each other. Just to make sure that we're actually really growing kids and working with them.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. But we have to give a shout out to the main person in the DNA life, your mommy.
Yes. Oh, my mother. Yeah. Oh, my mother has been so. My mother is like my personal press person, my personal like agent. She booked this for me, and she is so supportive of everything I do. And without my mother, I would just kind of be all over the place. But my mother is, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, I love her to death.
Good.
She is my number one support.
So what's your mommy's name?
Barbara Bibbs.
Okay, I think something else go in front of Barbara Bibbs.
Reverend Barbara Bibbs. I don't think of her as Reverend. But yes, Reverend Barbara Bibbs. And she's a dynamite minister. Her sermons are really good. And I get a lot of strength from my mother. My mother is one of the strongest people I know.
Yes, she is.
She knows how to bounce back very quick. Very quickly, and she never takes no. If you say she can't do it, she will do it. And so I think that spirit of just perseverance is something I inherited from her.
Which is good, because with Smart Cookie, anytime
I have to have
the Lord,
perseverance.
oh my goodness, anytime the Lord will give us an assignment, we got to have that perseverance, and we have to have someone's shoulder that we can lean on physically as well. So Smart Cookie, I looked at your media kit, I looked at your bio. You do a lot with these young people.
Yes.
So can we talk about some of the projects that you all have already did?
So in terms of the magazine, we have already written content. We were able to get an interview with the woman who started the hashtag Mute R. Kelly campaign. Okay. And so in that process, I had a student who had never interviewed a person before. And this woman is pretty notable, right? She's been all over the media. She was in the R. Kelly documentary. She's kind of famous, and so the best way I thought for Cameron to learn how to interview is to place her in the predicament. We did come up with some questions, but what I was really trying to teach her was the nuance of conversation.
That's it.
And so when you interview people, it shouldn't be like, next question. It should be about feeling. So I got her on the phone, and Cameron was a little awkward. She was just kind of like, I don't know what to do here, but I was there to coach her through that. And so the coaching aspect of the Smart Cookie Project is very important. We actually follow a theory, situated cognition theory. And I'm not going to go into the specifics, but essentially it says that students learn by doing. And so by thrusting her in that situation, of course I was there just in case she kind of fell, but she completed the interview. There was another student who did an interview with a professor at the University of Pennsylvania about gender studies because he was writing a commentary on Me Too. And so the importance is to be able to teach kids the difference between fake news and real news, and also knowing how to report, so that even if you have an opinion piece, you still need to verify facts. You still need to talk to people. The other part is the podcast. So right now I'm working with Vinnie Palmer at Cleveland High School for Digital Arts, who's an audio engineer and also teacher there. And he is teaching kids how to edit podcasts using Pro Tools, which is industry standard. So in that process, the kids have very fluid roles. We have Christian, who is the audio engineer for the podcast. We have Kyla Rogers, who's a producer. And then we have the on-air personalities, Eric Williams and Janelle Caesar. And they pretty much come up with their own topics. So right now our first episode is going to be about relationships, and that was spurred by this idea: he's just not that into you if he doesn't know your grades, right? And so the girls thought of that, like, if he's not checking for your grades, then he just wants you for your body. And so they are now in the phase of editing that episode, and it's really interesting because the conversation went somewhere we didn't expect it to go, where we actually interviewed a girl and a boy, and their perspectives were different, So I think our next segment is going to be on colorism, because that's something that they wanted to talk about, the girls. And then we have a fashion issue and a social justice issue coming up. So the kids are very intelligent. It's just a matter of giving them the platform to show us how intelligent they are. And as a coach, you're pretty much just saying, okay, try this. You're offering suggestions. And my suggestions are normally based on research and my prior background as a journalist. So this experience, I feel, tackles the ability to synthesize information, which is very important in education, kids being able to elaborate and synthesize what they're learning. It also, they're writing. So I'm teaching them how to write and edit. So these are all skills, and I hate to bring up standardized testing, but these are all skills that are relevant to standardized testing, although that's not our objective. Like kids are over tested. So that's not our objective. Our objective is getting a portfolio of artwork and writing that will get you entrance into places like the New School's Parsons School of Design or FIT or DigiPen. So that's the objective, is to make sure that underrepresented kids are going to the most competitive colleges.
And it's true that you said that. We have to give them a platform.
Yes.
Whenever the Lord bring me over into a new year, I always pray for new ideas, broaden my horizons, and along with my babies. So I've been posting that I'm looking for young children, to host and be part of Queen on the Scene. And the segment is tutus and bow ties. Yes, we did a annual all children's fashion show. So that was the name. And I found out some of my models that I see all the time. They model for big TV stations and radios and magazines because we gave them the platform. So saying that, I've gotten so many children and the parents to respond. Had we not given them that platform, see, that's those hidden jewels.
Yeah.
Because if we don't teach them, how will they know? Everybody don't want to be doctors, lawyers, teachers, social workers. And we're always going to have the media, writing, magazines, and things of that nature, which is excellent. So the more of us that do it, smart cookie, the more we can help our babies. That is truly what it's about. And we also teach them, and you spoke about it earlier, it's a conversation. We're having a conversation. We don't have the cell phone up to our ear. And we don't have the whatever they be doing.
Texting.
Texting. So we're actually looking at each other talking. Conversation. And you'd be surprised, our children do the best when they thrust into it. No planning. No putting on the schedule of the day.
Well, you actually use the activity to teach the skills. So, for instance, if my objective, everything I do with the kids is intentional. So, my objective with Cameron in that interview was to teach her interviewing skills. Because a lot of kids in her generation are kind of socially awkward. And because they're so used to dealing with each other through texting or through just typing, that human interaction is kind of scary for them, a little intimidating. And so my objective of her getting on the phone with this source was to teach her interviewing. So as she's going through the interview, I'm coaching her. So she's learning as she's doing it. And it's the same thing with writing. So I'll tell the kids when we have our Smart Cookie Lab at the school, which is Tuesdays and Thursdays between 3:30 and 4:20. I'll tell them, I need you to write a story on Cleveland trash, like the fact that there's trash in Cleveland all over the place. And they're just like, I don't know what, how do I start? And so I'll pretend like I didn't hear them, right? And I'll say, oh, you can always look it up, see what sources, who handles waste management here, waste management. So it's like giving them nuggets where they're like, oh, okay. And then now it becomes this thing. So now at the Smart Cookie Lab, when we are working, the first thing they do is, can I get your code to Northeastern? That's the graduate school I'm in. And they're like, so we can do some research, some scholarly research. That's the first thing they go to. And so it's now becoming a habit that before I write or say anything, I need to do my background research.
I just told my babies that. My young people, because we want to know what we're talking about. Because believe me, if somebody out there like watching our show right now is critiquing us to make sure that we're speaking actual facts.
Of course.
So just research it. I mean, we used to have to use the dictionary. Look it up. and know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
So when you challenge, you won't be
Right.
no, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And which is a wonderful idea because some of our children lack that.
Yeah.
Smart cookies. Some of our children lack that. They don't know how to actually dig into the research of it and then compile it together.
Right.
I have a home daycare business, and my children in Black History, my school ages, they already know. Now, you're going to reach back in history, find what you like to do. I have one that loves to cook. You know, we got the kitchen in the daycare, so she's cooking. And she started looking it up and telling me whose picture she saved. I said, good. And then they have to read Mary McLeod Bethune book. And she's like, Grandma, $1.50. I said,
Right.
So you go find out is the $1.50 worth today versus what it was worth back. So we're planting that nugget, that seed.
Yeah.
And you and I and others, we're watering it.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yes, I am. My ultimate goal is to have 50% of the kids who come through the Smart Cookie Project go to some of the most competitive schools. And even if they decide that they're not going to major in graphic design or video game development, that they are at least pursuing some type of arts on the side, and that they complete college, because that's another issue that really needs to be remedied, specifically when you're talking about historically disenfranchised groups going to college, being really scared about it, and then just leaving, right? And so we want to make sure that our girls are staying in college and actually making a difference. So a lot of the project is centered on critical pedagogy, which is pretty much focusing, making girls and women front and center of the curriculum as well. So they understand that historical past, and that they can do something about the representation of girls and women in media, whether that's from video game development, making video games more collaborative as opposed to more competitive where they are, or in graphic design, how women are portrayed, and in film editing. So that's the ultimate push for this. It's not excluding boys. Boys can be a part of it. We have a lot of boys that are interested in it because they are feminist. But the curriculum is based on situated cognition theory as well as gender studies, making sure that girls are aware of their power intellectually and artistically.
Can you say that again, please?
Making sure that girls of color and non-dominant girls are aware of their power intellectually and artistically.
Amen. Amen. When we teach them, they will know.
Yes.
When I was coming up, we had to go to the library every week. And my daddy said, write me a 50-word book report. Because he was advocate for reading. My father read all the time. So we couldn't make up nothing when we went to the library.
Right.
Because they always checked it. And I'm so glad, because when I had my son, he was at the library. My grandchildren, we go to the library. I let them play over there a few minutes. That's it. Now it's time to go get a book.
Yeah.
Get a book.
Yeah.
It's a lot in the books. And we want to continue to push reading in our city, because as you know, the stats for our young ones not reading, comprehending, retention, but that we have you and others out there that's doing that. And I want to let you know we appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Okay. I'm just like a little child when it comes to gifts. You told me you had a gift for me.
Yes,
so
I do.
On my gift.
So
I love gifts.
The Smart Cookie staff, which is my students and I, here's a gift to you. The Smart Cookie logo. So here's our poster. And that is for you.
Thank you. I like that.
To hang on your wall.
I sure will. I like that.
And then Smart
Thank
Cookie.
you so much.
Yes. We also sell lip balm. So we have provided you with some of our lip balm in herbal mint, peppermint, and the cherry.
Entrepreneurs. I've been one since I was 8 years old. I am so excited that we're able to be here today.
Yes.
This is the 11th month of January. We can plant these seeds and others right now.
Yes.
Instead of waiting until December 11th.
Right.
We can do them
Yes.
right now. Thank you so much. Give out your contact information, please.
So you can reach me at Josette at smartcookieproject.com. So that is Josette, Josette, at smartcookieproject.com.
And something else I seen, I can't think of it. We got a couple minutes. What would be your closing remarks to encourage someone that's watching us now? Maybe I want to do that, and maybe I don't.
Trust yourself and take a leap of faith. It is always going to be scary. Always going to be scary. But the difference between feeling afraid and actually sitting back is courage. And you have to trust that God has you.
Which is so true. You got to trust yourself. My daddy told me all of my businesses is named Follow Your Dreams. He said, follow your dream. Don't worry about nobody accepting your dream.
Right.
You follow your dream, and that's what we need to encourage our young people of today. Bullying, and that's still a form of bullying. You're not going to be anything, or you'll never make it.
Well, that's an interesting point, because I would also add to that something that Chris Rock said. And he said, don't listen to anybody.
Amen.
And so that you could take that how you want to, but you can't listen to people. There are always going to be people who are going to say, this is too much, this is too little, you should stop here. Do not listen. Trust yourself.
True, because I don't listen. I figure at 71 years old, what I got to lose now? You know? But I did. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I like to have fun on my show because we want people to continue to watch us from the beginning to the end, and, you know, put a little flavor of fun in there. But even at my age, I still listen.
Yes.
Because my young daughters that's coming along behind me, you guys are vibrant with information that we didn't have available for us.
True.
So I listen. I'm just kidding. I listen. Okay. So in closing, again, please say something else. I have a daughter out there that's struggling because of what other people say. Let's give her some words of encouragement. Smart cookie.
A smart cookie like myself would say that you just have to trust God. I don't know what other way to say it. You have to see yourself becoming. You have to be what you want to become. You can't be what you believe. You can't be what other people say. You have to be what you believe. You have to be what you believe yourself to be.
So true. You have to believe. I don't need to make you believe me, but
right. You have to believe.
You
have to believe. You become what you believe. And if you believe that you are you're a businesswoman who is servicing young girls,
yes,
and you're getting them to college, and that you walk in that path.
And that's what we're going to do. We're going to walk in the path, and we're going to tell them, thank you for watching and listening to us today. Queen on the Scene is now at the closing part of this wonderful show, and we want to say together, peace.
Peace.